Kathleen, how are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
I'm also looking forward to it. Tell me a little bit about just where are you logged in from today?
I live in Walnut Creek, California, which is in the East Bay area of California. So we're having a
Is it
beautiful day today. Got my window here.
is it super hot right now?
No, not too hot. Not too hot today.
Yeah, that's always
So,
a good thing. Yeah, when I used to live in the Bay Area, it used to be a hike from I used to live over in Palo Alto, and
oh yeah.
there's a little town called Livermore.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
where there's a temple. We used to come there every weekend, and then we would head out to Walnut Creek once in a while, but not been there too often though.
Yeah. Well, from Palo Alto to where I am is probably about as far as you can stretch in the Bay Area. So I had many clients down in Palo Alto area, down in the peninsula. So I've made that trek many times myself. So some beautiful
Yeah,
area
six
down there too.
680 can get really rough at times.
Yeah,
Right,
it's one of my worst. No, 880 is the worst. Anyway,
by far,
we
by
don't
far.
talk too much about traffic. We can get
But it's
really
good
wrapped
to
around that.
it's good to have you on board. Kathleen, give us a 2 minute background first about yourself, and then just a 1 minute about your book as well. You've written a book. I'm very excited because Kevin put us together and said you should definitely take a look at this book. I haven't read it yet. I apologize, but tell us a little bit about your background and your book.
Sure. So I have been spent my whole career in tech marketing. I started out in retail, running marketing for a computer retailer, and then I moved into software and ran product marketing for some products in a couple software companies, and then ended up at IDC's CMO advisory service, leading that, where I did that for almost a decade and got to work with hundreds of tech companies and their executive teams, their marketing leadership teams, from the biggest brands to tiny startups. And yeah, I think I've worked pretty much from every part of marketing, from product through to sales. So it's uh it's really been an adventure that I've enjoyed a lot. And now,
That's
yes, I'm a
awesome.
book. Here's a picture of my book. Whoops. I don't know if you go, it reads
Marketing in the
backwards here.
big, big, messy real world.
Yes. Yeah. Rewire your marketing organization to navigate anything. So came out in May and it's doing very well. Hit the Amazon bestseller list on the first day. So that was very exciting.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Tell me what the book is about.
So I wrote this book to introduce marketing executives and their colleagues in the C-suite to the mismatch between the way that marketing is being run and marketing's messy reality. So I like to use the phrase marketing is not a vending machine. This is the way that a lot of companies would love to have marketing work. Put your money in or your budget in, and out pops your pipeline or your revenue. But marketing is not even remotely like that, because markets are made up of people.
Yeah,
And so people and the interactions with people are what scientists call a complex system. So you have billions of interactions between individuals and buying groups and enterprises, and this creates feedback loops, which results in a tremendous amount of uncertainty and introduces unknowns into every situation. And so you have this situation where markets or companies try to manage marketing as though you could control it. If only you had enough data, if only you had the greatest CMO, if only you had the right strategy, then you would be able to predict everything and control everything. But marketing is more like the stock market or like the weather. And while marketing outcomes uh, do have reasons. They're never the perfect reasons, the real clear cut reasons that we want. So what I did after I left IDC was to research. Okay, if marketing is not a vending machine and it's a complex system, now what? What do we do? And so I did a lot of investigation, both in the science and also with leading marketing organizations, but also in other turbulent environments, like software development, like the military, like first responders, like healthcare. What are they doing? And how can we translate that into marketing? And that's what I wrote the book about.
marketing going through a lot of turbulence right now. One of the triggers, obviously, as you and I briefly chatted before, is AI.
Yes.
Um, a lot of my audience is in marketing. A lot of my audience is entrepreneurs as well who don't quite understand marketing, but they know they need it. How in your when you're talking to a lot of people who are CMOs and you're talking to a lot of folks that are doing marketing, practitioners of marketing, uh, many, if not all of them, are using AI in some way, shape, or form. I think it's like close to 90% of marketing folks, if not 95%, are using AI in their daily lives or maybe weekly lives, whatever it is. It's unknown to me yet what all could be done with AI in the marketing world. But what are you hearing from people? Are they adopting it with like both arms wide open? Are they worried? Are they thinking their jobs are gone? What are marketing folks telling you, especially senior executives? And then what are some of the people that are doing the work telling you in terms of where do they see marketing changing with AI?
Well, let me address the what do I see in terms of adoption and the way people are having attitudes. I would say that it's typical in some ways to other large uh, tech innovations in the sense that I think we're kind of in that the part of the innovation cycle where there's lots and lots of talk and lots of experimentation, but
Yeah.
we're well away from where I think that it will ultimately be as it becomes sort of embedded into people's worlds. It still seems very experimental. There's lots of concern, obviously, over it, even amongst the people that are using it quite a bit. I'm actually very optimistic about the way that it's going to be used. I think we're just starting to see, most it's like this is the way almost everybody probably on this podcast uses chat or Gemini or Claude or something that's, to increase how they write their email or to edit their content or something. But I think that the analytical parts of AI are going to be more important to marketing long term. And that's just really, really at the very, very beginning.
Hmm. Are people who are CMOs in senior executive positions, are they under a lot of pressure right now to do a lot more with less, given that apparently AI and more importantly, agents are supposed to do all this magic stuff for them, and they have to deal with the fact that it's inconsistency of brand, there's inconsistency what the AI puts in, then human has to be in the loop to try and make it not as robotic as things might be. What are you hearing from them on the on that front?
Well, we're definitely all that you described it very well. I don't know that this is really much different. I mean, I've been in marketing for a long time, a really long time. And the pressure kind of goes in and out about whether how much pressure there is to do more with less. Certainly during uncertain times we have a not only AI, but we have evolving customer dynamics. We have in it on again off again tariffs, and we have a lot of uncertainty. It's a highly uncertain time, but at the same time marketing has kind of always been this way. There's been pressure ever since I started marketing. um, so I'm not sure that that piece is really different with AI. It just happens to be, in some ways, the topic du jour. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but does that make sense? Whoop, I'm not hearing you.
Sorry. It makes sense, and at the same time, I'm trying to figure out how does the CMO's job become different in, let's say, 3 years from now when AI is practically speaking everywhere in every role. Yeah, this is every time you introduce a new technology that has a seismic effect, it takes a long time for it to actually permeate everywhere. Is my
Yeah,
thinking
much
model?
longer than I think 3 years.
Yeah,
I think.
but this one seems to be moving much faster. I mean, I've been through the mobile age, I've been through the web age, I've been through cloud age, it gave you 10 years, kind of was the working assumption. This one is moving much, much faster for some
Well,
reason.
AI though has been out. AI has been here for a long time. I think we got a sort of a burst with Chat GPT. You know, when Chat GPT came out a couple of years ago, all of a sudden it was everywhere, and you had the English ability to just, or language, I shouldn't say English, a language ability to talk to people, and to use it without a whole lot of knowledge. But AI has actually been coming on for quite some time. I think that in terms of like how is the CMO's job going to change, I think it depends on whether or not they really are going to look at AI as being an opportunity to innovate and an opportunity to really integrate and augment what they're doing, or whether they look at it as kind of a side tool. You know, one of the CMOs that I was talking to had a really good point. She says, why instead of trying to use AI to do things better, faster, cheaper, which is kind of the first, hey, let's do, whatever it is we're doing, but now we can do it with fewer people, or now we can do it faster or something. Instead of doing that or doing only that, why not take the opportunity to look at the way that we're doing things and change them in a really positive way, change them in
Mhm.
a way that really bends towards the future. So things like being able to create augmented customer journeys where you really are blending human capability with AI capability, where you're really trying to create um, teams of experts with variety of different capabilities to work collectively on causal AI, for example. Um, I think that companies that do that and CMOs that do that are going to move both them and their companies faster. But there's going to be a lot of people who just continue to use it in a really, really basic ways. And I think that for the people who will really try to get and try new things with it, they're going to really be moving forward. Um, I don't, one of the things about predictability is that the world is not linear. So I think, frankly, for anybody who sits today and tries to predict, and with IDC, we do a lot of predictions. I mean, I'm not working for IDC anymore, but we did do a lot of predictions, and we worked really, really hard on it. But one of the things that's always hard is you don't know what you don't know, right? The world is VUCA,
Exactly.
volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And therefore, any predictions that you're going to make today are at least going to be partially wrong.
Yeah, I think we used to have at Microsoft when we used to talk to Bill Gates, he would always tell us, I want less of your predictions, I want more of your empirical evidence. What he would say is, show me this is what's happening, and then the best thing you're doing with predictions, you're projecting based on whatever you know from before. That's it, right? It's not as if
Yes.
you can tell me exactly what's going to happen. Nobody can do that, but you're saying based on what I've seen so far, this is where likely it might head. Now it could go this way, it could go that way, it could go any different direction. That's what I used to remember in terms of predictions. And I think, a lot of time you've known this. Now I can tell you this. It's not that you don't know it, but a lot of us in the vendor side of things, Microsoft, I was at HPE, we would make fun of IDC and Gartner, just like you would make fun of us and say, yeah, they get 9 times out of time they get their predictions wrong. The one time they probably stole it from us. But
Well, I think one of the things that is going to make the difference, and I'm not going to propose that I am a expert on causal AI, but I do think that the methodology and the models for causal AI do have at least a little bit more hope of being able to help with that. To your point, or to Bill Gates' point about the empirical evidence, the ability to ask what if questions and to look, to answer the whys and to look for steady connections and triggers and indicators that causal AI will help. I think for all kinds of really uncertain, turbulent environments, that's going to be a huge move forward
mhm.
compared to predictive analytics, which at least predictive analytics gives you some trends and some correlations. Frankly, most companies are not even doing that. most companies are doing just like trying to do rules-based attribution, which is, worse than that because it's worse than not right. It's actually disinformation. And that's, I still see tremendous amounts of, discussion about why they shouldn't use attribution. And it seems like, for me, it seems like a, duh, but to many people, that's the only thing they have. So I think we have a long way to go. Still have a long way to go.
Talk me through some examples that you've seen in the book that you probably explain a little bit more. If there is a lot of change that is happening right now, what things in your background have you seen or ways and mechanisms and means by which people can, as you said, it's not a vending machine. So what is it and how do people think about it going into the future with so many other changes coming in as well? How do you propose people have a mental model in their head to navigate the next few maybe years or decades?
Sure. So the two things, the two conditions that you're trying to develop to be successful and to thrive in an uncertain environment, one of them is agility. So you don't know what's going to happen. So you need to develop skills and methods and mindsets to help you respond to what's happening um, in a better way. The other sort of base foundational capability is what I call market system health, which
Mm,
is put in a way, it's sort of like building your physical health. So everybody knows what to do to build their physical health. You need to eat right, you need to sleep, you need to exercise. And none of those things are going to necessarily prevent you from getting sick or from having an injury, but it does improve your ability to be resilient and the health. If you have like a strong immune system, it will reduce the chances that you're going to have something going wrong. So in my book, and both my experience and also what I've researched is, okay, how do companies do that then? How do marketers do that then? How do they build agility and how do they promote market system health? So I have four mindsets because everything starts with your mind.
mhm.
You want your actions, that's what's going to produce the outcomes, but you're going to continue to repeat the same actions unless you change your mindsets first. So you want to change your mindsets. I have think like an investor, which is thinking about your budget, for example, in a different way. You want to avoid looking at marketing as a cost center and think about it as something that you risk in order to get future benefit. So you get your inspiration there from like stock markets and venture capital. In terms of planning, you want to think like you use the word navigation. I use the word navigation a lot. You think about a boat or pilot or even just driving through traffic. You have a destination, right? You know where you want to go, but sometimes you have to, morph the way that you move through things. I found a great word called wayfinding, which is something industrial designers use, thinking about how people move through a theater to find their seat or something. It's similar to the agile, you know, it, agile methodologies, iterative, but you want to be able to take an action, learn from it, adapt it, take another action, learn, adapt. So you keep on doing this iterative. That's the one of the methods. So there's many different kinds of methods that you can use. I found really several dozen of them. But they are often quite different and kind of go against the way that people traditionally have operated and thought about marketing.
When you talk to marketing leaders right now, are they expressing a lot of hope about the future? Are they expressing like the seat at the table that marketing has is going to get to the point where they will be the leading voice in the table? Or are they a little bit more of reflective? The CRO seems to be coming in to take over, and we are reporting to the CRO who reports to the CEO. What has been that spectrum?
I would say, again, because of the amount of uncertainty, that people are a little bit more wary. I think there was hope or a lot of promise a few years ago. Companies depend on marketing a lot. I'm not talking about the CMO specifically, but about the
Okay.
marketing task, even more than they have. And it's frankly, the more dismediated that the commercial relationship becomes, the more marketing is going to be dependent on. Um, because sales and even retail partners and stuff are losing, at least the interpersonal piece is getting less and less. So how you manage your business through the mediated is more important than ever. I'm not that worried about the CRO role because I do think that marketing and sales, particularly the marketing at the edge, have to come together more. If you read and talk to sales managers, what they need when you say like, well, what's the most important thing and what can you, they might not use this language, but what they need is more marketing. That's what they need to be successful. So whether you call the leader a CRO or whether you have multiple, I am in favor of, and in my research, I found that reducing the number of silos, particularly at the edge, is going to be the way forward. So if the CMO means that they're going to retain a high definition between sales and marketing, I think that's actually the wrong way to go. That doesn't mean that putting marketing under sales is absolutely the wrong way to go. So anybody who says CRO is really head of sales, but with a little side dish of marketing, I think that's they're really headed in the wrong direction. But if the CRO is a representative that really blends those two, then
Yeah.
maybe just changing the title is not necessarily a bad thing. So, again, it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more sophisticated than if it's just, like I said, just pushing marketing to the side. I think people are really headed down the wrong direction. But if it's a blend and a collective and an integration, that could be a good thing.
Let's ask the flip side of the question. What if the marketing person becomes the responsible person for revenue? As opposed to reporting to the revenue officer, the
It
marketing
is
person is told, hey, you don't have a choice. You're going to have to give me revenue, not marketing metrics, which traditionally have been the ones that they've been responsible for.
that is happening in a minority of companies, but it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Of course, if I was talking to someone the other day where they were talking about one of the challenges when someone is promoted into a CMO role. So they're like a director or VP of marketing, and now they become a CMO either through expansion or title change or whatever. And they need to shift their thinking from just managing the function of marketing to now integrating the marketing role into the entire uh, business process. I think uh, it is an existential step, being able to make that shift from just focusing on, gee, marketing is running really well, to how does marketing fit into the overall business of the company, and how do we move the company forward using marketing and markets as a tool. So if there are marketers and marketing leaders who can make that shift and think about sales in that way and think about how marketing kind of fits into the overall task, they would make a great CRO. So I think that is something, but I don't know how many marketers are really thinking about that at this point. They should.
This was terrific, Kathleen. Thank you very much for the time. Congratulations on the book. I'm really
Thank you
excited.
very much.
I think Kevin had told me he was going to send me a copy. I haven't gotten it yet, but I will read it
We'll make sure that you get a copy. I'll
and I
definitely
will
make sure that I'll work with Kevin on that.
and I will make sure that I send it to the readers of the newsletter as well. Especially given how many folks have been reaching out to me via email and saying we're looking for a roadmap on how to think. I don't think they want the thought done for them. They just want a good roadmap.
Yeah. Well, I will say the book is not a, hey, do these 5 things and then you will be happy. It is a roadmap, but it's a roadmap for development. There's going to be pieces of it that will be easy, and there's going to be pieces of it that will take more effort. but it's accepting reality as the world of marketing being, a messy place. And I like this quote that I found from Andrew Zolli in his book Resilience, which is, if we cannot control the volatile tides of change, we can learn to build better boats. And those better boats are available.
Thank you so much again, Kathleen. Great talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you.